Hello, everyone, and I hope you're all doing well. My name is Tanner Dagenais, and I'm the host of Self Sabotage Solutions. Now, today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how to take the aspects of video games and applying it to your life so that you could become more successful and more um, productive just all around. And the reason why I've been talking a lot about video games is because it's a big part of my life. I was always a gamer throughout my life. I started playing video games when I was really young, and I always found it to be super interesting, right? This whole nother world where you could be something and you could achieve all these different things that normally you wouldn't be able to achieve. And I think playing video games can be, you know, it can be a great way to escape the real world. The problem comes when you use it too often and when you are distracting yourself from your real life because maybe you don't want to go back to your real life. I know that's the way it was for me. And I started to become addicted to the video games, and I was playing literally all the time. Like whenever I had free time, I was either playing, smoking marijuana, getting higher drunk, and partying. Pretty much doing anything to not face my current reality. But I do think there's some things in video games that we can learn, and we can take those aspects from video games to apply them to our lives. And that's really what this podcast is about: learning how you can use video games, the ideas within them, and apply them to your life, and use them, essentially fuse them together with personal development so that you can become more healthy, so you can become more successful, so you can start to enjoy your life. You don't feel like you have to escape anymore. So that you can, defeat depression and really start to live the life that you want to be living. And I've been very excited to share this information because I actually created a whole program around this, about turning your life into a video game so that you can win, essentially. And it's such an amazing program. Has lots of fun in it, has lots of actual growth, and just packed full of information that can be super helpful for you. And it takes you step by step through the different levels I've designed so that you can um, become more successful, overcome self-sabotage, defeat your depression, start to live a life that you can enjoy again. But today we're going to be talking about the different aspects of video games and how you can apply these to your life. So the first one would be the story and the main quest, right? So pretty much all games, except for maybe some only multiplayer only games, have a story and like a main quest, the main thing that you're doing in the game, whether it be like saving the princess, whether it be like slaying a dragon, whether it be, um, you know, making the name for yourself. There's a lot of different games and a lot of different main goals of games. And just like in life, there's a lot of different, um, main goals of people. And there's a lot of different stories, a lot of different backgrounds where we come from. And knowing your story and having your story at your ready to know where you're from, know where you are right now, and then having a clear sight of what's your main goal. Like 10 years down the line, what are you trying to get done, right? What is your dream? What is your goal, right? So many people don't have goals, don't have dreams, and if they do, they're not usually written down. And what they found is the people who write down their goals and dreams are much more successful, and the people who write them down and then look at them every day are even more successful. And specifically, when you're writing down your goals and dreams, you want to make smart goals. So you want to make sure they're realistic, and realistic is going to be different for everyone, right? You want to make sure they're actually descriptive and time based, and you want to make sure that and measurable, right? So you want to make sure that you have like, oh, I'm going to be achieving, um, eating steak every day for the next month, right? Or whatever your goal may be. I just kind of blanked and came up with a random one, right? So you could have many different kind of goals. I want to be making $15,000 within every month for the starting on June 3rd, 2033, or something like that, right? That could be one of your goals. That's specific, that's time based, that's measurable, and that could be realistic depending on your status and where you are in life, right? So that's really important to have your goals and dreams, to make something that you are very specific about. What is your main goal? And really, once you have your main goal, you can break it down into side quests, right? And we'll talk about side quests in a little while. But everyone has side quests. Every game has side quests. So once you know your story and your main quest, usually games, and you can kind of think of this game as either like a World of Warcraft, like a role playing game, essentially. World of Warcraft, Skyrim. That's the kind of the game I'm modeling after. Obviously, there's many different kinds of games, um, but I think role playing games are a lot like life in a ways, with a lot of different aspects that you can apply to life. So character customization, right? We can all customize our character, which is ourselves. We could all wear different kinds of clothes. We can all cut our hairs different ways. We can all, dye our hair. We can all do whatever we need to do. Grow out a beard. Well, I guess not everyone can grow out a beard, but you know what I mean. Like you can always customize yourself to however you want it to be yourself to be customized. And I think a great way to customize yourself is going to be in line with what your main goal is, right? So if your main goal is to be like a top businessman, then you're going to want to be more professional, right? If your main goal is to be a streamer on for a video game, then you want to wear more video game apparel, more things that are going to appeal to people who watch you, right? So it's all your character customization is going to be partially what you like and partially what your main goal is. What how can you align with your main goal? Because that's really important that you align your lifestyle with your main goal, with your main quest that you're putting yourself on. What is the thing that you want to be achieving with 5 years, 10 years, right? What is your main picture? And then once you get the character customization down, your tutorial, right? All games have tutorials, right? Whether you choose to play the tutorial or not, that's another story. But oftentimes the tutorial, if we don't know how to play the game, can be very helpful, because I know I've played a couple games where I didn't know the buttons, and sure, I found it out after a while, but if I would have just played the tutorial, I would have known how to do something that took me a while to learn how to do, and it slowed my progress in that game, right? And for a lot of us, that's the same way it is for life. A lot of us don't really know truly how to play the game of life, and we also don't understand the controls of our mind. And I'm going to equivalate the subconscious part of our mind. So there's two different parts of our mind I really want to talk about. So we have our conscious mind on one hand, and this is your part of your mind that is logical, it has critical thinking. This part of your mind can reject information. This part of your mind has your goals, your dreams, your aspirations. This part of your mind, this is the part of your mind you usually do like determining if something is good or bad with, right? And this part of your mind is what you can equivalent to yourself when you're holding a control. This part of your mind is you trying to control the game, right? The controller itself is actually your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind, this part of your mind is, controls all bodily functions. So it controls your body, your muscles, all those things, right? This part of your mind does not reject information, accepts everything in. So it doesn't. If you tell it to jump, you're going to jump, right? You're gonna press the A button, and you're just gonna jump, right? It's kind of like the same thing for your subconscious mind. If you're telling it something, it's likely going to do it. And so you got to be careful of what commands you're giving to your subconscious mind. And this part of your mind also takes in information from other people as well. So let's say you, just like in a video game, if you're holding controller and you're playing with your character you developed, which is you, and then you hand off your controller, your subconscious mind, to someone else, and they start putting programs and pressing the buttons and stuff, your character is still going to be moving and doing all the stuff. It doesn't care that it's not you. It's the same way as your subconscious mind. It doesn't care who's giving it the commands. It's going to be doing those actions regardless. So that's your conscious mind who is saying, whoa, 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 I'm not going to do that because you told me. But your subconscious mind's like, oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll try to fit in, right? That's where peer pressure comes in. That's why people are so likely to go into groups. because we know it's safer. And this is your subconscious mind is it's knows that there's safety in the group, that there's safety with fitting in with other people, and that's why it does this. So this part of your mind, it's really important to understand the subconscious mind because it's your controller. So what are the controls, right? Um, I talk about this really deeply in my program, where I help people, fuse these two ideas and take them through different levels and fight, um, real life bosses, so that they can start to really move forward in life and, essentially power level to where they want to be. And we'll talk about that idea as well in just a moment here. But I want you to think about, are you acting as an NPC in your life where you're just letting other people control you? I guess that's not entirely NPC, but you know what I mean. Like, you're not controlling yourself is really what I mean by NPC, where you're not controlling yourself and you're just running off the programs, off the ideas of others. And in a way, that's really what an NPC is, right? A non-player character, for those of you who do not watch or play video games, is an NPC. So non-player character is just ones that are programmed into the game that don't actually take actions themselves. They just run off the programs, and that's really, to tell you the truth, that's what a lot of us are doing the majority of time, because 90 to 95% of your daily thoughts, actions, urges, cravings are coming from your subconscious mind. And what those things are coming from within your subconscious mind, it's programs, information from other people, from society, from movies, TV shows, video games, songs, all those different things, teachers, friends, things you've said to yourself. They've all turned into these programs that your subconscious mind is running. Just like an NPC, it will just automatically spit these things out when the required time is to come. And so you need to make sure that you're not just acting as an NPC your whole life, right? Because that's where self-sabotage is. So I'm also a freedom from self-sabotage coach, for those of you who don't know. And essentially what that means is that when you are trying to do something you want to be doing and you sabotage yourself, you want to start eating healthier, but you start to go for all the junk food. You want to start working out, you buy a gym membership and you never go, right? That's what the idea of self-sabotage is. You're sabotaging yourself. You're not actually following through with your goal or dream. And that's why it's happening, because you're just running off those programs. And those programs are really like, oh, we don't work out. We're not in that kind of society. We're not in that group. We don't work out. We've never worked out, right? It's more safe for us to not work out. Remember, this part of your mind, the subconscious, is not logical. It's illogical, because it doesn't base things off. It doesn't do any critical thinking. It doesn't say this is good or this is bad. It just says, yeah, this is the information we have. This is what we're going to do. Just like a controller, right? This is the information we have. This is what we're going to do. Your controller is not going to be like, oh, he told me to jump right now, but if I jumped, I was going to get hit by this trap or something, right? Oh, if it told me to walk forward right now, but if I walked forward, I'd be walking off the cliff. No, the controller is just going to follow your inputs, and what happens in the game is what happens, right? That's the way your subconscious mind works as well. So you need to understand that you need to be the one giving controls and programming inputs to your subconscious mind, so that way you're in control. You're not just running as an NPC all the time. You are running as the person. You are actually in control of your own life. And that's why the tutorial is so important. And I could go on and on about it, but I think if you want to learn more about the subconscious mind, I made other podcasts about it. Or if you really want to go into depth, you should really contact me. We could hop on a Zoom call or something and talk about that program, what it can offer you, what it looks like, and how I can take you towards the life that you want. The next thing is difficulty, right? All games have difficulties. It could be like easy mode, it could be hard, it could be, it could be medium, it could be hard, it could be like legendary, or like the super hard mode, right? And with all things, we have different difficulties based on what we're trying to do in life and based on how we're approaching the things, right? So a lot of ways that we make things harder on ourselves is by really, like, we're very negative about things. We tell ourselves we're not good at them, right? We don't put in the required time to do it. We don't have the experience, and then we go try to do something that maybe we don't have the experience to do. Just like if you were going to go to You know how there's like different, like, and we'll talk about this too, levels, areas, and stages in a game where you have to get to a certain level, or you should be at a certain level to be fighting in a certain area, all right? Because all the enemies are higher level at that area. But you go try to fight them anyways, and you get slaughtered, and you're getting destroyed over and over again. And you keep dying, keep respawning back to respawn point because you weren't ready for it. It was too difficult of a task, right? For some of us, that's what we're doing in real life. We're going into things expecting to be able to do something that's way up here that requires a lot of experience, when in all reality we should probably be starting down here, building up our experience and taking up the ladder, and then get to that point, right? It's like trying to fly before you can even run or walk. um so that's like the higher end of the difficulty. But for the lower end of the difficulty, sometimes things are too easy. Like in the video game, when things are too easy, usually a lot of times they get boring. Like I know in Skyrim, for those of you who have played Skyrim, um, when I got to the end of the game, I made it so I could just go 100% invisible and nothing could hit me, and that became too easy. And I also got these rings that crafted that every time something hit me, they just did 100% damage back to themselves. So essentially, the game became too easy because I didn't have to even play anymore. I didn't have to even think, right? So some things they might feel like they're too easy in real life. Like you might be doing the dishes and it gets boring. You may be doing something else and it just feels boring because it's just too easy. It's just mindless tasks, right? Cleaning, whatever it is. Well, you could add a sense of difficulty to them. You could add like a time based element to it. Oh, I gotta get these dishes done this quick. Oh, I gotta do something else, right? I saw this one idea from someone else who talks about these kind of things on on another YouTube channel. I can't remember the name of the channel right now, but they talked about how her and her husband, and you could do this with a roommate or whoever you live with, right? They're sticky notes essentially. And what their game was with the dishes is that um, they had two sticky notes on a wall, right? One was for the wife and one was for the husband. And so they had their name on each sticky note. And whenever someone would do some of the dishes, whatever was there, they would be able to move their sticky note behind the other person, meaning that the other person had to do the dishes then. And so they were incentivized through the game they were playing to get dishes done as soon as possible, so you didn't have to do as many dishes, right? And then that way, when there was a big pile of dishes, if you weren't the one to have to do it because your name wasn't there, the other person would have to do it. So it was incentivized to do the dishes as soon as possible, so right there's not a big pile up essentially. So there's different ways you can add difficulty or kind of more make things more interesting for those things that are boring or too easy. So that's how you can apply difficulty to your life, right? Just to make things that are easy a little bit more challenging. And you can make it fun. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a hard thing to do. You just make it more challenging, more fun in that aspect of it. Um, and for things that you could always make things more challenging, right? So if something does become too easy, you could do something with only one hand. You could, like, for brushing your teeth, let's say you get too bored of that, start brushing your teeth with your opposite hand, see how that feels. I do that sometimes actually, is I use my opposite hand, and you'll if you tried that, you'll notice it feels very awkward. But as you get more and more used to it, it gets fun to do, right? So um, that's some way you can start to change things up there as well. Now, leveling up. When you level up, right, in a video game, you should get stat increases. What are stat increases? Like your health, your vitality, your strength, your fortitude, your willpower, your intelligence, your charisma, right? Your magic or whatever. Lots of different games have different names for these things, but a lot of them are the same. Then your endurance, your vitality. But in real life, that's the same way things happen, right? As you start to work on things and you get to a certain level, you get enough experience in it, you level up and you get more of this stuff, right? So if you are constantly working out, you're going to get more strength. You're going to become stronger. You're going to have more endurance. You're going to have more dexterity if you're adding on to like agility stuff. You're going to have more agility too. depending on what kind of workouts you're doing and what your workout routine looks like. If it's a functional workout, you're going to have more agility, you're going to have more dexterity, you're going to have more strength, more fortitude, right? Um, and that's really what you're going to have more stamina, right? So that's really what stat increases look like in real life. You could be reading a book and gain intelligence, right? You can um, take a course. You can do a program like my program or other like all the other programs online, right? And you can increase your willpower, increase your intelligence, increase your wisdom. So look at different ways you can level up your character in real life, right? So many of us are so focused on just getting pleasure in life. And while pleasure may be good, a lot of the times it's not giving you the level up, the stat increases that you need for your character in real life to start to become more powerful, to take on new things, to start progressing in the game that we call life. Right. And that's really what life is. It's a real life video game, and it's actually the best video game in the entire world because it has the best rewards, and you can get so much out of life through the rewards. And we'll talk about the rewards in just a little while at the end of it, actually. And then the next thing when you level up and throughout your life and your game as a character, right, is abilities and skills, right? So you learn a new skill, you learn a new ability, you learn how to shoot a bow, and you can do that in real life too, right? You learn how to use a sword, you learn how to use a shield, you learn how to write a book, you learn how to write a blog, to do some public speaking, you learn how um, to work out, you learn how to make your own food, right? So there's a lot of different abilities and skills. What kind of ways are you increasing your skills, increasing your abilities throughout life? That's important to look at. And if you're always playing video games and always leveling up other characters and not yourself, then you may be under leveled in the game of life, and you may be what we refer to as a noob, right? And for anyone who's not a person who plays video games, a noob is someone who's really not either good at the video game or they're brand new. Um, and unfortunately, many of us would be probably considered noobs in the game of life, and that's not to make you feel bad, right? I was at the same spot. I'm moving up now, which is awesome, and that's what I like to help other people do, right? Go from noobs to pros in the game of life, and that's really what the idea behind my program is: to take you from that spot to that spot by making it fun, by making it so you can take these ideas of a video game and apply it to your life. And for many of us, as gamers, these things kind of resonate with us. At least I know for me, when I heard these things, I was like, wow, that resonates with me. Um, because I've had this in my whole life, right? I've been playing since I was like 4 or 5 on different, like through Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation. Mostly I was Xbox, raised on Xbox, GameCube, um, Wii, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and then I went more into PC stuff. So now I'm more of a PC gamer, but the Game Boy Colors, all that stuff, Pokemon. So that all those games kind of got me in the mindset of developing and learning new skills and things like that, which is great if you can apply them to your real life. But if you get stuck in the video game world, you're just going to be behind. You're not going to be making progress in real life. And that's very important that you do focus on your real life character, you, right? Um, and so one of the ways you can do that is by focusing on what I like to call side quests in your life. So what are the side quests, right? Side quests could be things like doing dishes. Side quests could be things like um, learning a new skill. It could be things like helping your parents out, helping your family walk the dog, helping doing something at work that you need that they ask you to do. Right? There could be a lot of different side quests that maybe aren't part of your main quest, and that's really what it is. Anything that's not part of your main quest of what your 10-year plan is, your 5-year plan is, that'd be considered a side quest. And side quests are usually worth doing in video games, right? A lot of times they can be worth doing. They're not as interesting as the main quest, and that's okay. They don't need to be. Usually, you get some kind of reward from them, right? So um, the rewards are pretty much what you're wanting, and you're wanting getting experience. You want to be able to level up in some kind of skill, right? Get more skills, get more stats, and that's what side quests can help you do. And oftentimes, your main quest will be built into a bunch of smaller quests, which is important to do. Not just have you're only having your giant main quest. Having that developed is amazing. Having the 10-year plan is amazing, but you also got to break that down into smaller goals, smaller quests, smaller um, you know pr- actionable tasks that you can take to move towards your life. So that's really important to have, because a lot of times you can get discouraged if you're just looking at your big 10-year plan and you're like, I haven't made any progress towards it. But if you broke it down into small actionable steps, you're like, hey, look, I did do this actionable step. I did this one. I did this one. Hey, I'm moving forward. Right? You can start to see more progress because you're completing tasks, you're completing things along the way, which gives you momentum. It gives you encouragement. It gives you like that sense of of leveling up, of moving forward in life, right? Um, and it's likely many people probably aren't listening to this if they're gamers, and that's totally fine, right? If you are though, and you have questions about it, don't hesitate to reach out to me. We can talk more about it, because I think it's, even if you're not a gamer, you can use a lot of these ideas in your own life to start moving forward as well. Because to tell you the truth, there's a lot of good just ideas in general that you can apply to your own life with this information. So, and we'll talk more about rewards again at the end, right? Because I think there's a lot of different aspects of video games that have rewards in them. So the next one I'm going to be talking about is levels, areas, stages. So, I think back in the day, a lot more games had levels or stages, right? You'd go through level one, you go through stage one, and you get through it. Oh yeah, I made it through, and then now you're on to the next level, right? Where nowadays a lot more games are like open world because just the capacity for the games have gotten bigger, meaning that it's not just one stage and then you're done. It's like an open world where you go to one area and then you move on to the next area, which is kind of like in the same capacity, but oftentimes you can go to the areas ahead of time before finishing that stage. And that's where you run into situations where maybe you go to someplace too difficult, right? But the cool thing is that um, you can use this idea in real life, right? So we all have different levels, different areas, different stages in our lives, and you can really start to use it to your advantage, right? Something that can be helpful when you're in an area for too long in a video game. A lot of times you'll get bored, you'll run out of things to do. So sometimes it's important you need to move. Sometimes it's important you need to move to a new area in your life, a different stage, whether that's getting a new job, completely actually moving across the country. I know I moved multiple times across the country. I never thought I was going to. I thought I was going to live in Colorado my whole life. But I ended up moving to Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, with my wife right before the whole COVID thing, and then um, just about 2 years ago now, I moved here to South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, with my wife, and we ended up buying a house down here, right? And so, and then we have a son, which is a whole new stage, a whole new level, all right, a whole new area. And so my life is constantly changing right now. It has lots of different big moves, and it's been very interesting, very eventful. Um, so I think it's important that you mix things up a little bit, right? You keep things interesting by moving to different areas in your life, to moving on through different stages of your life, progressing through different jobs, right? Not just staying stagnant in the same thing in the same role for your whole life. Um, and with each new area, with new each new level, with each new stage, there's gonna be different enemies. There's gonna be different side quests. There's gonna be different difficulties, right? There's gonna be different people you can interact with, and so that's important too. Who are the characters in your game, right? There's so many different kind of characters in a game that really make it interesting. So usually you have people you end up working with, people that will join you along in your goal, people that you will partner up with. So for me, in my goal of overcoming self sabotage and helping other people, one person I've been partnering up with lately is Nathan Francis, and very grateful to have him in my life and to be playing to hang out with him and be you know doing our podcast together. And we're being actually doing an event here if it's before on May 13th of 2023. So if it's after that date, you've missed it. But on May 13th, we'll be actually doing a free seminar together through Zoom, talking about how to why you self sabotage and how to address it. So that if you're interested in learning more about this kind of information, definitely I'll put the link down below in the description so you can sign up for that. And then you have all these different people in your life, and all these different people you can interact with or not interact with, right? So, and just like in video games, you may have the option to interact with someone and get a side quest from them, or to maybe learn a new skill with them, or to barter with them, or to trade with them. But you could just walk by them too and not even do that in some games, right? You don't have to even experience some of these things in the games because you can choose what you want to do, especially in the open world ones. So sometimes you don't even have to even barter with NPCs or the other players in the game or even interact with them at all. But a lot of times you can actually increase your ability to progress through the game if you interact with other players. So one of the ways you can do that is usually through what's called power leveling, right? And I could talk this back on the leveling, but this is the same idea. When you're leveling up your character, getting more experience, increasing your stats, getting more abilities and skills, you can have what's called power leveling in video games. So you could have a friend who's a higher level than you come and then walk you through an area that's going to be more difficult than what you're usually going through, and then help you take you through that area so that you're stronger, so that you're able to level up much quicker, right? And you can do that in real life too, right? You can do that in real life just by going to someone and working with them and asking for help, right? You can go to work with a mentor, with a coach. You could do these kinds of things, and you could actually power level in real life and learn from them how they got to that point, and they'll share that experience with you, and you'll get more experience and you'll level up quicker. um it's funny how these words all work together here as I think about it, but yeah, that's exactly what it is, right? You could That's what asking for help is, and that's what it has been for me in my life. I've worked with three different people as coaches and mentors, and every time it's increased my productivity. Every time it's moved me forward in life. So the first person was with Paul Chek, and working with him. There's actually his book right here, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. It increased my health, my vitality. It increased my endurance, my strength. My actually increased pretty much all of my stats, because focusing on the principles of holistic health really is important if you want to become a healthier, stronger, more successful human being. So that's another part of my course, level two, actually, where I labeled the toxic swamp. And my course, again, one is the one where I teach people how to apply these ideas of a video game into their life, and I literally take you through step by step, have different resources for you and make it fun. um, the toxic swamp, where I teach you about like toxins in life and how to take back your health. So, and I learned this all from Paul Chek, and I'm so grateful for him, and helped me move forward. And then I learned from Jason Christoff. Jason Christoff is the master self sabotage coach. He runs a school, and I learned from him. Became one of his very first students, and that information skyrocketed me forward in life. Learning about the subconscious mind, learning about how I'm influenced, learning about why I'm sabotaging. Right, that was a major game changer for me, because I thought I was broken. I thought there was something wrong with me when I kept trying to take certain actions, and I kept, not moving forward with them. I kept sabotaging myself. I kept telling myself I want to stop drinking or stop smoking or to not play as many video games. And I find myself smoking, drinking, and playing video games, right? And I thought it was just willpower, but it's more than just that. I had to get more intellect. I had to get more fortitude. I had to get more, willpower, and I'll put all those things together to be like, and really level myself up. And I learned that from Jason. So very grateful for that. And he's a big reason why I am a coach right now in these days, and why I am where I am in my life. So it's changed my life and my family's life and countless other people's lives as well. As you can tell, with all the people I've had on my podcast. If you haven't heard any of the stories, definitely recommend you checking out my other videos, because I interview someone. I've interviewed, I think, like 20 plus people where they share their self-sabotage story, and they're very powerful stories. um but once again, you can power up, you can, power level yourself into the spot that you want to be much quicker with help, is really my point. And then right now I'm working with Nikula Das. I actually interviewed him recently, and he's my one of my business coaches, and he's going to help me, take my business to the next level. And he's already helped me do that in so many ways. Part of the reason why I went down this route of sharing my video games story, because for a while there I was kind of holding back on it. I felt like, oh, people don't want to hear that. But I think there is a lot of people who are, and maybe this is you. If this is you, if you're in that spot I was talking about, where you maybe are just focusing on video games because you don't want to face your life, you just want to escape your life in any way possible. If you're like that, put your comment down below and just say, hi, or, reach out to me, because there is a way forward. We can even just talk about it. There's no, um, obligation or anything when you speak to me over Zoom. So that's always free to do a chat there. So I would love to talk to you guys if you're interested in that. But grateful to Nakula as well for helping me move forward in that spot. So there's my point is that if you interact with more people, if you interact and use the resources of other people, you can really start to move forward in life much more. So it's important you make use of all the opportunities you have available to you. Then in each level, area, and stage, there's gonna be different people. There's also gonna be different, usually bosses, or something that's going to be like the final event within that, which is usually like the boss stage, or something similar to that. So in life, we usually have bosses we face. We have the job interview, right? We have working out. We have like all these different things. We have the asking out the girlfriend, right? That could be a boss. If you're really scared of asking someone out. But and also there's just like the bosses of like within your own like inner fighting, right? You have like your demons you gotta face. You gotta fight with your motivation, your procrastination, and things like that. And that's also something that my program has different bosses within it to kind of make it more fun, but also to help you realize and get that sense of like progression. So but with each boss, it's each time you beat a boss, right? And oftentimes, sometimes you may not be strong enough to fight the boss right away, so you have to go back and level up. You have to go back and collect more armor. You have to go back and learn new skills. You have to go back and maybe go talk to someone you didn't talk to before, so you can go back and beat that boss afterwards, right? You may have to go look up online, and try to find like, how do I beat this boss, and learn from other people, which you can do the same thing in real life. You can go look online, like, how do I ask this girl out, how do I do this thing. There's so much resources online that not doing these things is putting you at disadvantage for sure. But every time you beat a level, area, stage, every time you beat bosses, every time you complete a side quest, every time you whenever you finish parts of the main quest, usually you get some kind of reward in a video game, right? To keep you interested, to make the game more fun, to make you a stronger individual, to make you be able to play the game on a better level, and to make you more enticed to want to play it, right? There's that reward. So it's right there. That there's the experience, it's some kind of currency, it's new weapons, new armors, it's a mount so you can ride a horse around, you can ride a dragon, right? Whatever it is, you can equivalent to the same thing in real life, right? What kind of things are you rewarding yourself with? if you notice in video games, the rewards are never something that's gonna make you weaker. The rewards are never something that's gonna make it so you have less fun at playing the game. The rewards are never something that's gonna make it so you're more lethargic, or you have no energy, right? So I want you to really consider, what kind of things are you rewarding yourself with. Oftentimes, I know at least I did. I rewarded myself with things like alcohol, with marijuana, with more screen time, with more junk food, right? But in all reality, whenever I did those things, it wasn't making me my character better. It wasn't making my character stronger. It wasn't making my character healthier. It wasn't making my character um, being able to take on new tasks, right? Or if I was spending money, I'd be buying something like a video game. I'd be buying something like um, I don't know, something that wasn't really important, like some like Chick-fil-A. I'd be buying, like, going out, like, oh, let's buy some drinks. Let's go buy an ounce of marijuana. Let's go buy some dabs, right? But then the day, those things didn't make me any better. It didn't make it so I could play the game any better. It didn't make it so I can, have continuing benefits from this thing. So, for instance, let's say one of your goals is to, when your goals is to increase your health, your vitality, you can buy a bike with your reward, and you can ride that bike around more, which then in turn makes it so you are increasing your strength and your vitality and your endurance. And then, that's a good, like, an example of good reward. Or you can, instead of going out to get a drink, like some alcohol, you can go out and you can get a nice smoothie, or you can go out and get a smoothie to fuel your body, instead of, buying, my example, instead of going out to smoke a bunch of marijuana or buy a bunch of marijuana, you can go out and spend some money on some books, on a course. You can invest in yourself, right? You can go out and be like, hey, I want to work with Tanner. Oh, hey, I want to work with Nakula. Oh, hey, I want to work with whoever, right? I want to invest in this course. I want to learn how to do something new. Oh, I want to take this time I have, instead to just watch TV shows or movies or something. I want to take this time and invest it into this, right? So when you're giving yourself a reward, and I think this is really important, this is where a big part of us really, I guess I would say, fail in life. And failing is not necessarily a bad thing if you learn from that failure, right? If you keep failing over and over, keep making the same mistake, that's when it's a bad thing, and that's when it keeps you back from your goals. But if you make a mistake and then you realize, hey, that was a mistake, I should probably not do that again, I'm going to learn and do something different this time, then that's actually success, in my opinion. Um, but you need to be aware of when you actually are making that mistake of rewarding yourself in a bad way and just not giving you the right things that you need in life, right? So instead of, after you work out, are you going to go reach for the chips and soda, or are you going to go reach out for a protein drink? And you're gonna be careful what's in the protein drinks, and we cover all that in my program as well. But be aware of what you're putting into your body. Be aware of how those things are affecting you. Are they building you up? Are they giving you more nutrition? Are they giving you more energy? Are they giving you more strength or more, endurance? Right. That's really important to think about. So really, these are the aspects of the video games I wanted to talk about. Right. You can apply these to your life, and you can really start to make progress towards your main goal. That is, if you even have a main goal. But that's why I went through the steps the way I did, because I think really it's important to know your story, know where you are, know what, why you're here, what was your past, right? Know your why. Then know your main quest. What's your main goal? What is your 10-year plan? And I recommend doing a 10-year plan. I think that's really important. A 10-year plan is great. You can do a 5-year plan as well, but a 10-year plan gives you a lot of time to focus in and get focused on what you want. And make sure you look at that goal over and over again. Next is the character customization, right? We talked about that, customizing yourself. Usually it's going to be helpful to go in line with what you want is your main goal. Tutorial, how do you play your game, right? Are you letting yourself be controlled by other people? Are you controlling, or are you taking control? Are you the one with the controller, right? Putting the input, programming yourself, right? Stop being an NPC essentially. Difficulty. What kind of difficulty is your life at? Are you going into things when they're too hard? Are things too easy and you're getting bored? You can adjust those things, right? You can go back and learn more so it's not as hard. You can adjust it, make it a little more challenging, add some some new rules to the easy things and make them more interesting. Like the idea with the sticky notes and the dishes, right? Um, are you leveling up in life, right? Are you getting those increases in your stats? Are you getting healthier? Are you getting stronger? Are you getting more intellect? Are you getting more dexterity, right? Are you getting more charisma? Are you able to speak to people easier, right? Those are all things that are going to be very helpful in your life to make it so that you are better at the game that you're playing, which is life, right? The more skills you have, the more stats and abilities and skills you have, the easier it is to do whatever you need to do in a game or in real life. And that's just the truth of it. Side quests. What kind of quest are you on? What are your goals? What are your side goals? Right? What is something that's going to help you achieve your goal? What kind of rewards are you getting for these quests? Um, what levels, area, stages are you in your life? Are you moving through different ones? Are you getting bored in the same one? Are you finding yourself stuck in one because it's too difficult? Or you may need to go back. Bosses. Um, what are the bosses you're facing in life? What are the things that are hardest for you to face? Right. Um, Once again, are they too difficult? Do you have to go back and learn more? Do you need to reach out to someone so you can power level and get to where you need to go? Right. What is your goal, and how are you going to get there, and how are you going to get through these obstacles or these bosses? Right. And then again, how are you going to reward yourself to keep you motivated, keep you going, to keep you stronger, to keep you moving forward, to keep your momentum rolling? You're going to need to reward yourself in a way that's going to continue to make you better, continue to move you towards the goal you want, right? You got to avoid rewarding yourself with things that are going to make your character weaker, right? You don't want to do that. That's going to be like, that's essentially self sabotage, right? That's one step forward and two steps back. Imagine if in a game, every time you got a reward, it was like, oh, now your stats go down. Like, oh, you can drink for these couple days, but your stats are going to go down a little bit. Would you really want to do that? You just put all that time and effort to get your stats up. Why are you going to take that reward and put them back down? Right? That's the way to think about it. So overall, I think that this is really good outlook. If you can apply these things to your life like this and start to take these concepts and to look at your life consciously, from the player's point of view and not just running through the NPC style, then you can start to really make changes in your life. And once again, if you really want to learn more, if you want to get personalized help, if you want to go through a program that literally takes you step by step each of these points, and then even further helps you break this information down and apply it to your life and helps you create goals and dreams and all this information, I've created that exact program and I can teach you how to do it. Just reach out to me. We'll hop on a Zoom call and talk more about it. Like I said, no obligation. We just talk and see where it goes. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. If you guys like this content, please let me know if you've resonated with it or any ways. Please give me a comment. I'd love to hear, from you guys. And please give it a share, give it a like and subscribe, because that really does help us get this information out to other people. And I think a lot of people really need this information right now. Especially, I know a lot of gamers do. I have a lot of friends who are gamers. My brother's a gamer. I was a gamer my whole life. I follow a lot of different gamer profiles and Reddits and stuff like that. And I know there's a lot of people out there struggling. I know a lot of people just in general in life are struggling, but a lot of gamers are just running away from life right now. And um, I know there's a way forward. I know there's a way to start enjoying life again and to start playing the game of life the way it's meant to be played, with a strong character, with a strong development and strong goals and strong, identity. And that's something I can teach you guys how to do. So, anyways, I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Once again, my name is Tanner Dagenais, and you've been listening to Self Sabotage Solutions. All right, have a good day.